So this is going to be part two. Part one, we talked about my marina and how we're all being affected by plastic and toxins because of what's in the water. And part two is going to explain the mechanics of it. I may talk about some of the corruption. And I think we're going to do a mini water journey before we do part three, which will be the final water journey, to show you the results of the inaction that has happened in the area. So the mechanics of this begins with what we eat. And we're going to talk about photo number one, which is a dinner plate. And on the dinner plate is blood vials, condoms, syringes, tampon applicators, tampons, things like that, which all break down and become microplastic. This is basically what we're eating. So it's called microplastic, and we'll go to photo number two. There's an article by The Guardian, which is, I believe, an English group, that talk about microplastics and how they're infiltrating brain tissues. They're in our heart, in our organs, and in the placenta of unborn babies. And it shows you little bits of plastic, but it's basically some of the stuff that I explained, which is on our dinner plate. Now, when it gets in the ocean, it actually becomes a sponge for PCBs, because PCBs were dumped by companies like Con Edison so they could get rid of them without paying the fee to do it properly. And they just dumped them in the oceans, and it binds to the bits of plastic that are in all of us now. Photo number three is the United States river system. And I'll bring it up. As you could see, there are literally millions upon millions of miles of rivers in our country. It's hard to comprehend how many they are, but if you look at this river system in photo number three and superimpose the highway system over it, you can imagine how all the plastic gets into the oceans. The highway system, every mile of roadway generates about 20 bags of filth annually into these rivers and streams. And that's what's killing the oceans. It's not people on beaches and leaving their bags behind. And people aren't going to clean it by going in the ocean in boats and pick it out of the water, because it's just not going to happen. Now we're going to see how what plankton looks like. Photo number four. Photo number four is plankton, which actually is the beginning of the food chain for all of us. And it's being displaced by what I showed on our dinner plate. It's actually displacing plankton and becoming the beginning of the food chain, which, if we go to photo number five, okay, photo number five is the biomagnification of PCBs in the fish. It gets into the ocean from our sewers. All the plastic in the ocean comes from our roadway. It goes down the storm drains and into those little streams and rivers that I showed you in the previous photograph. So plankton absorbs it or is displaced by it. It enters into small fish. Small fish are eaten by bigger and bigger fish, ultimately taken up by whales, which are now the most toxic animals on the planet. They're washing up along the Jersey Shore now in record numbers, hundreds of them. And the reason being because the utility companies are driving this whole CO2 agenda, and they think they're convincing people that we have to put these windmills along our coastlines and stop using oil. Well, people think it's the sonic noise that's killing the whale. It's not. Their bodies are already full of PCBs, so the sonic testing is resuspending the sediments of the bottom, which is pushing the whales way beyond the capacity they could tolerate for PCBs. So if you can imagine the Hudson River, which is full of PCBs, dumping out by the Statue of Liberty, Long Island Sound and the East River dump out by the Statue of Liberty, and Raritan River from Jersey, which is the home of Agent Orange, where it was made, dumping out into the Statue of Liberty, all that sediment, and 9/11, which was the thing with Con Edison substation we talked about in the first video, where the dioxin-like compounds from their 450,000 gallons of oil burned and has already killed 5,000 people. Well, every time it rains, those dioxins and PCBs are also washing out along the Jersey shore. So what they're doing, they're churning up the whole mess, causing all these whales to die because their body burden just can't stand anymore. I think that's basically the mechanics of it all. So during my lawsuit, it initially started with volunteers of the Sierra Club that came to my boatyard, and we started taking soil samples. They were gung-ho. They were so mad at everything. They couldn't believe what they were finding. All of a sudden, they weren't involved anymore. I couldn't get them on the phone. They had no interest. Turns out they got a big donation from Con Edison, and they got bought off. The League of Women Voters got very mad at the whole thing. They got involved. They wanted to get people to vote, so forth. They got a big donation from Con Edison. They didn't want to be involved anymore. Organizations like Save the Sound, Soundwatch, the volunteers came. They wanted to be involved. All of a sudden, they got a big Con Edison donation. They didn't want to be involved anymore. There was a congresswoman named Nina Lowy who came to my marina because I got 1,000 petitions signed to tell her what's going on. She was an environmentalist, and she came to see me. And I explained to her the situation, and she got Congress to allocate $3 billion to study what I was telling her. Well, that $3 billion mostly wound up in her pocket. She got volunteers and school children to check the clarity of water with black and white discs, all volunteers, and they determined what depth they couldn't see the black and white discs anymore. $3 billion went to that. There was the Long Island sewer study by Blaslin, Bronk, and Lee, which, because of my lawsuit, they got $25 million to study the sewers in the city of New Rochelle. $25 million for the study. Well, I did my own sewer study, which is in this volume, and it turns out their study was wrong. There was all kinds of illegal connections. There was toilets, hospital, gas stations, all connected to the storm drain that came out on my property. So the taxpayer spent $25 million for a study that was meaningless. So a lot of people made a lot of money on my lawsuit. I lost a lot of money. I lost everything. And the corruption, I don't know if anybody, Janine Pirro was Westchester County District Attorney and a judge. So I began following the trucks that were loading PCBs up and taking them away to be incinerated. I started following them to Ulster County and so forth. Well, the DEC put a roadblock at the toll station because they were on to what was happening. I called them and told them they blocked the trucks. Who arrives on the with a helicopter? Was Janine Pirro. She took down the roadblocks and let the trucks continue on their journey to dump my PCBs throughout Elsa County and the Dutchess County area. So, because she was great friends with Con Edison, and she went to all their gala affairs, and I'm sure they financed all her campaigns. So, I mean, from here, that's about all I have to say. And if we could do a little water journey, the beginning of a water journey, and then next week hopefully we'll do the one at the marina. But that's it for now. All right, here we are down the hill of my house, and if you look over here, we see clean water actually oozing out of this mountain. This is basically on its way to the ocean. As clean water as you could possibly have. You see it just trickling out by the rocks, oozing right out of the mountain. Now, if we walk down the road a little bit, and this is all by chance, already the first piece of plastic that'll follow that river to the ocean. And down the road a little ways is another piece of plastic. So the point is, as pristine as this area is, it's already catching plastic and sending it on a 100-mile journey to the ocean. And by the time it gets to the ocean, it'll have accumulated thousands of big plastic bags of plastic and stuff, all the stuff that we've witnessed in the previous film. So this is how it begins. It starts getting thrown out of cars, and cities are far worse. People just throw the garbage in the streets. The streets dump it into the rivers and streams, and that's what's causing plastic to wind up in our bodies. You could actually follow the coffee cans, coffee cups, and as you get closer and closer to a gas station, there's more and more of them that are purchased at gas stations and then dumped out along the way. People just toss them out of their cars. There's going to be a little more on the bottom of the hill. We're going to stop down there and talk a little bit more. Actually, there's freshwater plankton too. So trout and so forth will come up and they will start nibbling at the freshwater plankton. So the leaves and all the little bits and particles, remnants of life forms, wash into the river, become part of the ecosystem, except now plastic is overwhelming it all. So that little stream that we just showed you goes underneath Route 22, which is a major north-south artery in New York State, and empties into this, which is known as the 10-Mile River. This goes into Connecticut and becomes the Housatonic River. As it goes through Connecticut, it becomes full of PCBs. The Housatonic is notorious for having PCBs. And it exits in Long Island Sound, where they make the nuclear submarines. It's about as pristine an area and a pristine a waterway as you will find. But by the time it does get to the ocean, there's going to be thousands of bags of plastic garbage in it. And next week's water journey is going to be the exact opposite of this. It's going to be unbelievably putrid. I used to ride Nitro in here. You know what made me laugh? Mm-hmm. You know, he knows about the lawsuit and everything. We used to talk about it. He would actually poop when he got in the river.
Aww.
He would, on purpose, I think. He was so mad. He'd poop in the river, and I'd see it float down the stream.
Yeah.
I used to laugh my ass off.
He would like just hold it
until he got to the river. Yeah. He wanted to add to the misery. He was funny.
Making a statement.
Yeah, he was making a statement. Yeah, I used to take him here all the time. We'd ride up this river.
There's some nice flat rocks.
My name is Deanna Mancuso. I'm the executive director of Lucky Orphans Horse Rescue. Lucky Orphans is an equine sanctuary in Dutchess County. Dutchess County is the largest horse populated county in New York State. There's over 10,000 horses in Dutchess County that need our help just in retirement, abuse, neglect. This is Pokey. Pokey actually has periodontal disease. He's missing a lot of teeth and he wants to go steal Jackson's food. So I'm going to put him back in the paddock. But Pokey has periodontal disease. Jackson is our oldest resident. He's 35. So as an equine sanctuary, we see a lot of horses. Penny has a broken hip. We have some retired rodeo horses. Tula was attacked by a mountain lion in Oregon. So as a sanctuary, we take horses that would be otherwise unadoptable, broken legs, kissing spine, missing eyes, and we give them really a forever home. But it's not that we just retire them and forget about them. We retire them and then they give back. Once they're rehabilitated, they become therapy animals for veterans, domestic violence victims, children with anxiety, depression. Since COVID, we've seen a lot of social anxiety. So we see clients who don't know how to go to school and talk to their peers, not sure which lunch table they fit at. We see, again, domestic violence, rape victims, sexual trauma. And those are the clients that these horses are helping. Our mission is people helping horses heal people. So it's full circle. We have a volunteer team that takes care of retired, rescued horses that should not forgive people. And as we rehabilitate them, they teach our human clients about forgiveness and understanding and compassion. And the horses are such amazing therapists, really. Lucky Orphans exists because as a child, I rode horses to really forget about the struggles that I faced. And these horses teach the volunteers and the clients so much about themselves. They are mirrors. So whatever emotion you're in the moment, they mirror right back to you. If you're calm, if you're anxious, if you're fearful, if you're being bullied, they really teach humans a lot about boundaries, communication. People communicate through body language 55% of the time. So words, tone, inflection are all body language or are all words, but body language is 55% of our communication. So right now with Jackson, my body language is soft and relaxed, but if I was to tense up, he would react to that. Horses are 100% communication through body language. So when we work with our clients, a lot of the times we just step back and observe. We want to notice, what is my behavior causing the horse to do? And as people, I think we've lost a lot of that projection. That, am I being congruent? Is my inside matching my outside? Is my message being clear? And the horses really bring that clarity, because if you're not communicating clearly, they'll tell you, and it's instant feedback. It's not hours and weeks with a therapist that you have to build a comfort level with. It is immediate biofeedback. And it's just so raw and so emotional, because it is an experiential model. We follow that experiential model where we only see our clients 6 to 8 times, because the therapy is so impactful, and it lasts so long. So a lot of the times our clients in the drive home will reflect on their session, and we give them homework where they have to reflect or look back on the pictures of their horse when they're sad, and it works so deeply, so quickly. It's literally saved so many people's lives. We just had one of our volunteers compete at the Paralympics with wheelchair fencing, and she attributes her Olympic ability to working on a horse farm as a volunteer, because it's taught her so much about perseverance, being a team player, communication, empathy, trust. So the horses really can take you anywhere, as we've proven time and time again with our volunteers going on to be at the Royal Veterinary College in London, to the Olympics, and really anywhere else. The sky is the limit when you're working with horses.
All right, so all the horses that die at this facility are buried in this area. They all get a little cross. Yeah, that was my youngest daughter's horse. She named him that.
That's funny. Alley cat.
Yeah. Barnacle Bill was a wild Mustang. He was tied to a fence post at a camp with no water in the brutal hot sunlight, and they were going to send him to slaughter, so we took him. He came from the west. All right, so here's where Nitro is buried. If you buy and read the book, a large part of the book is his story. He's basically responsible for all of this and getting us up here. And the reason he's in the book is to contrast how we could go from filth and pollution and toxins to a clean place. And he showed us the way. So if you're a horse lover, definitely buy the book. And if you hate pollution, buy the book. I think Nick will put a link to the book on his video and make it easy for you if you're interested in it. That's Shadow. He's in Appaloosa.
Wow.
Yeah. He likes eating trees. They were actually bred by the Nez Perce Indians out west, and they're probably one of the most rugged, durable horses in the world. And they were hunted to extinction by the U.S. cavalry to try to curtail the Indian population in wars. And Chief Joseph drove them into Canada to escape it all, and they survived, and he continued to breed them, and they're still wild in the wild to this day.
It's just crazy that just
Hey, boy, Shadow, you want to come over?
Shadow.
We don't have any apples, but
Oh.
you could say hello.
Aw.
We took him to the fair one year, to the horse show at the Dutchess County Fair, but he didn't like the Ferris wheel.
No.
He got upset when he saw it.
I get nervous.
So we had to take him away from the horse show. Isn't he beautiful?
Oh. You're a friendly guy.
Yeah, it's quite friendly.
Came right up to us, huh?
Mm-hmm.
What's that up here?
Yeah, they're curious.
Man, with those tails annihilate.
Yeah.
Fast they go.
Yeah. They swat the flies.
Yeah. There's a purpose for everything.
Yeah, there actually is.
What's the name of that one?
I don't know all their names anymore because she got so many. Some of them are thoroughbreds and they're
Yeah.
new, and I don't know them because she keeps getting them.